I don't think I've ever said y'all before in my life. Um, I'm Daniel Ehrenberg. I've seen all these episodes. I'm back in town. I mean Buffy town, like Sunnydale is what I meant. Like I never left town in real life. And let me bring in the noobster watching the shows for the first time, Buffy as well as Angel. Here he is, Logan Be there.
Do I have the talking stick now?
Yes.
No, this week I'm Herb Saunders, guys. No Logan Villa there to be found. I'm Herb Saunders. Is this the boat to Catalina?
Uh what
Herb
what is
Saunders.
this?
That's Angel's character that he played when he was talking
Oh,
to
oh
Steve
God.
Sharifka and
I'm
those guys.
Excuse me. Yes, you're right.
God
I
damn.
forgot his great character that he did with Bobby Bacala.
Yeah, Herb Saunders.
Yeah. Was
Yeah,
the hat too much?
I loved it.
I did too.
But we're talking about that later. We're starting with Buffy.
Yeah, this week is Wild at Heart, which is episode 6 of season 4. And then we'll also be talking about Sense and Sensitivity, the sixth episode of Angel down the line. But these episodes both aired November 9th, 1999. You want to know what was going on?
Uh yeah. I was gonna say no, but I feel like I do that too often.
Yeah. That was funny for a little while, but now it's like we're not wondering what it would
Well,
be
you gotta
like if you
stop
said
stop
that
asking
anymore.
me.
Oh
You
yeah, I
just, you
guess.
just gotta go
No,
into it.
I always ask.
You do.
Listen, this is a podcast about consent as much as anything else,
Since when?
Logan. Um, since I started getting letters. Um, so this is all right. November 9th, 1999. The number one song in America was Smooth by Santana and Rob.
Jesus.
We were loving it. Um, and big album release that day. Speaking of music, When the Pawn by Fiona Apple. Fiona Apple's best album, in my opinion, was released on this day.
Wow. It's big news.
That was big news. Of course, that album had 92 words in the title or something like that, but everybody just shortened it to the first three. When the Pawn.
Like Les Mis, sort of like that.
Yeah, except that was just like a few extra letters.
I
Like
guess
when the
whatever.
pawn was like a chapter of a book you had to cut out.
It's like
Uh
Borat. We just call it Borat.
yeah, it's just like Borat. And how about this? This aired opposite an episode of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So
Mm.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is on
I
the
bet
board.
Giles might have been watching that. He's a big game show lover, as we learned.
Very possible. Boy, you're on top of it this week. And here's another fun fact, Logan. So we had a lovely birth the day after this episode aired.
Okay.
All right. Young Kiernan Shipka emerged from her mother's womb into the world as these episodes were airing.
I don't
Okay.
know who that is.
Well, she grew up to be Don Draper's daughter on Mad Men, as well as Sabrina the Teenage Witch on the chilling adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch over there on Netflix. All
Okay.
right.
Do you watch that?
I'll, I watched the first 4 episodes, Logan.
Okay.
That's as far as I could make it. But we love Kiernan Shipka. There's a definitely a pro Shipka podcast. All right. So I wanted to mark her birth,
All right.
her
There we
her,
go.
and her entree into the world. She could play Buffy today. They redid it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that one day. We should recast Buffy. I
Oh,
don't know
that'd
if
be
I know
fun.
enough like young like TV actors though. I definitely don't. But that'd be a cool
Yeah.
exercise.
You'd be like Xander Bradley Cooper.
That's so funny.
All right, the number one movie in America, Logan, debuting at number one, The Bone Collector. All
Mm.
right, which I saw in theaters, but a couple months later at a discount theater. Okay, I've talked about this discount theater before.
Those have
I saw
got sequels, right? We could do that one day.
The Bone Collector?
Yeah, right.
No,
There's a sequel to the Bone
they
Collector.
adapted it for TV at some point. I think you're thinking of like Kiss the Girls and those movies.
Wait, is the Bone Collector a horror movie?
No,
Oh, what am I? I don't want to. Never mind.
no. Bone Collector is Denzel Washington. He's a paraplegic ex-cop. Okay, and he's the only one that can solve the case, Logan. But he can't get out of bed. All right, so they get this young rookie cop played by Angelina Jolie, new on the force, and she goes underground into the sewers, and she's Denzel's eyes. All right.
All right, whatever.
Okay.
Oh, like, I'm thinking of The Collector. It's just
Oh,
called The Collector, and it's like the poster is like a guy sewing
yeah,
up the
yeah.
back of his head.
I
That's
think
what I
that
was
came out
thinking
like
of.
10 years after this.
All right, it's just what I didn't know what either movie was. It's just what I thought it was.
All right, that's okay. This is just the Bone Collector. It's different. Yeah, the Collector, that one has a sequel. We can cover that.
Yeah.
Number two was House on Haunted Hill again, but coming in at number three, debuting at number three, The Bachelor. No, not the TV show. We're not celebrating the beautiful end of charity season. All right. It was beautiful, Logan. This was a movie where Chris O'Donnell is a bachelor. He has to like get married in 24 hours to collect his inheritance. And
Okay.
women find out about this, Logan. He can't get around, you know? People are stopping
Now
him every what?
nowadays it would be like a cool thing where like the women would be like, "Look at this chump. Let's all decide not to marry him and ruin his life." That would be like the movie today, right?
Are you like bitter because of feminism? What
No,
was
I'm just
that
saying.
joke?
No, no, no. That's not a joke. That's just like what the take be on the movie. I feel like
Maybe because of
that
like
wasn't a joke at
Barbie
all.
or whatever. Um, so the Bachelor, he wants to be with Renee Zellweger,
Uh,
Logan, but he's gotta get through all these other women to find her.
yeah.
All right, and then number four, debuting at number four, Michael Mann's The Insider. Now, I saw this in its second week of release because I remember that I did a double feature with the Pokemon movie, and that didn't come out this week. It was next week.
Yeah. Well,
All right, gang.
I would bring up that we could do the Pokemon movies at some point, but I feel like we've done everything of that era just recently with like Transformers and
There are also way
TMNT.
more Pokemon movies than anybody thinks.
They're like five, right?
No, 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 no. See, they kept making them. It's just that only Pokemon nerds cared about them.
Mm, all right.
Yeah. It was one of those franchises that like kept going and we didn't even pay attention, but it was growing.
That's another thing I don't know anything about.
What?
Pokemon.
Oh. Well, that'll be fun then because Pokemon is insane.
I don't care. Don't really know much about it. I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards when I was a little kid.
Yeah, that was after my time. I remember when Yu-Gi-Oh was starting to get big. I was starting to be like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
But I watched the first couple of years of that Pokemon cartoon, man, and I was in. Loved
Great
Ash.
song. I love the song.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. It's incredible,
Yeah, truly.
right? Um, it's hard for me to not continue, but I guess I'll forge ahead with the
Maybe
episode.
that'll be the outro.
Always a good outro. Um, all right. I mean, that's basically all I have for this week, Logan. Should we get into the episode?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea.
Sounds like a plan. This one, Wild at Heart, written by Marty Noxon. Big Marty Knox. She likes writing these sad ass Willow episodes. All right.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But she's prolific. Look, we most recently saw her in Living Conditions. That was her last one.
Mm.
And Living Conditions was
Can I tell
also
you? I've
what?
heard, I've heard, Do You Believe, what's that song called? There's a got it's not
Believe by
called Do You Believe
Cher.
in Life After Love. I've heard that a few times, and every time I thought of Living Conditions. And I
There
knew
you
in the
go.
moment I was like, this is gonna happen to me, and it has. I nailed it.
I'm
Anyway,
happy to hear it.
I like that episode. That was a good episode.
It was, and that episode was also
Better than this
directed.
one. Spoiler alert.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Wow.
This episode, that episode was also directed by David Grossman, and he's back for this one. So, Wild at Heart is the Living Conditions team.
Wow.
All
Very
right.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Logan, tell us what you thought about the episode. Walk us through it a bit. Scrote your notes, if you will.
Okay. All right. I will do that. So it starts out Buffy's chasing a or I think the vampire's chasing her, and she's like pretending that she's scared, but really she just wanted to lead it somewhere else. And then she's like, "Ha, I gotcha," and she makes a heartburn joke, but the vampire didn't really think it was that funny. And I gotta be honest, I didn't either. Buffy didn't love
Listen,
it.
she's still smarting over Parker. Let's give her a break.
Really, still.
I don't know.
She didn't
I
even
get
mention him at all this week.
no, I know she got closure, but
Yeah,
I'll
she's
give her a
fine.
pass this week. This
By the
isn't
way, is
her
he dead?
episode.
You said he never showed up, and last we saw him, she like banged him over the head. I think that should be what we go with, is that he died.
That's canon.
I think we to
Is she
us,
knocked him into a fucking coma?
yeah. I mean, if we never see him again and they never ever talk about him again, I think that he's dead.
I think he's mentioned again,
We'll
but
find out.
but yeah, we don't see him again.
All
All
right,
right,
but
so
yeah,
Buck's
yeah.
making bad jokes.
So yeah, that not a great joke, but he's dead, and then we see somebody spying on Buffy, and it's Spike. And I was like, didn't he just do this with Angel? Wasn't there? Didn't we just spy on Angel, like talking to some girl a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago? And but then Angel or then Spike gets captured by those military folks, and that is the most interesting part of this season for me, is the military folks so far. I like what they're doing with them, the way they're treating them. And I like that Buffy was like, she tells Giles at the end of the episode, like, yeah, I saw those guys on Halloween, but I like didn't even think it. Like, I like how she like thought about that moment again. That was
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. It's sort of in this episode officially becomes a concern of hers.
Right. And I'm interested in Riley. Walsh, I'm interested in, but she seemed like I thought she would probably be a little paranormal, but she's called them dogs. Like she seemed like just like she would be like a quote unquote muggle or whatever. So maybe she's nothing. So maybe that doesn't interest me as much. But Riley, nothing has written me off Riley still. So Riley's still in, but I guess I could just be reading way into Walsh. Maybe I don't know, but anyway, we're not even there yet. So Spike gets captured, taken by those military guys. That's the last we see of Spike, right? He's not in the rest of
Yeah,
the episode.
no,
We'll
no, no. We'll see him
find out
next
more.
week.
By
Yeah,
the way,
yeah.
he's like so he's not on. I thought he would sort of be more on Angel starting now, but back on Buffy.
Yeah, yeah, he's back on Buffy at the moment.
Pretty cool.
He's free to flip
Um,
back and forth if he wants.
yeah, he's one of those. He's ambidextrous, right? He's show bedextra. I don't fucking know. I'm gonna edit that out. All right, so we go to the
So
bronze, right? And they're hanging out at the bronze. They're like, "Oh, the bronze is fun." And Giles shows up at the bronze. He's like, "I love music," and Oz knows that because remember that one episode where Oz was like, "Yo, sick collection. I'm gonna move in here so I can listen to all your jams." Remember that time?
of course, I believe it was in the harsh light of day.
It was whatever one they found on the TV, right?
Yeah,
What happened that episode? The harsh light of day. That's weird.
that was the last Spike episode. They like see on the news about like tunneling underground, and they know
It's a
like
bad title. Like nothing comes to mind when I think of that.
I think it's a good title.
You know what's a good title? I Only Have Eyes for You. I know exactly what that episode is when I hear that one. The
Yeah,
John
that's
Hawks
fair.
one. That I know exactly what that is.
Yeah,
Um, I
I
mean there are better
also
ones like Go Fish. That's a great one too.
Inca Mummy Girl. I know exactly what's going on when I hear that title.
Fair enough. The Pack. Those are good ones.
Yeah,
But all right. So yeah, at the
Witch.
bronze. Witch. Ooh. Can we cover the witch again? Like should I see if that's as good as I remember? I feel like
uh,
that's like the best of any of those like one-off like lamer episodes.
we could do it at the end.
All right, yeah, we're going back to Witch. All right, so yeah, at the bronze, Giles is there, and Veruca's performing, and it seems like like everybody's into Veruca, right? Like Giles is like, ooh, Veruca, and Xander can't stop looking at her, and Oz obviously.
It's a
But
cool band, man. You don't get a lot of trip hop
yeah,
at
do you like that song they were singing? I wrote the lyrics down. The
yeah.
first few words. It's dip a finger in me.
I like that. Yeah, it's sort of sexy mid 90s fucking trip hop music. My girlfriend compared it to Portishead, and I think that was probably a good call.
Well, no,
Um
I like them too. But yeah, everyone likes Veruca. And by the way, guys, I fucking nailed it.
yeah, he got this.
Yeah, like I feel like I don't get a lot of things right, but I nailed it. She was a werewolf. R.I.P. By the way, loved the death. Thought it was very cool. But anyway, so we go. Willow and Oz, they're sleeping. They wake up. I guess they had a great night together after the bronze, and they're talking about what was Willow like pretending to be like dreaming or something.
That might have been the last time Willow and Oz have sex before the breakup.
Yeah, I guess I think so. I think that's
Yeah.
right. Um, yeah, I didn't know what was going on if Willow was like pretending to like have a nightmare or something. But anyway,
She was talking in her sleep, and then Oz started commenting on it, and then she pretended to still be talking in her sleep.
I feel like that's sort of what I thought happened. But she wakes up, she tells Oz like, "Hey," or Oz tells her that he just had like the full moon's coming. So and remember in Buffy, if it's like for 3 nights, it's like before the full moon, and then after the full moon. Is that a Buffy thing? Original?
Yep.
Yeah. And so he's like, all right, so I got to get locked up. But Willow says she has to do this. Like, what's going on at this? Why are they have witch tryouts at this college? Is that a normal thing at other colleges, or is this like, are there other witch? Like she says like, oh, it's probably bullshit, but I want to do it because I am a witch, which is weird. Like, I don't
Yeah,
really
she
understand.
gets wind of a Wiccan club at the school. It's just like a club. And she's like, "Well, let me check it out. I do magic. Maybe some of these people are into it too." It's like maybe she meets somebody like Amy or our little goth friend from that one episode. But
The kid whose dad beat him.
yeah. We'll follow back up on that though. We'll see what the club is like.
Yeah, I mean, I like uh, are I guess I don't like because Anya exists. Like there are other people with weird powers, right? So I don't know.
Anya doesn't have
But
any powers.
well, not anymore, I guess. But Willow does have powers, and she like did she like I guess she just taught herself powers. She wasn't born with those powers. She can just teach
No.
herself how to. It's interesting.
If
Um,
there's one thing we know about Willow, she's an incredible studier, and
right,
she has learned herself magic.
right. All right. So yeah, so Oz is gonna have to lock himself up anyway. So we go to oh, this is interesting. So Walsh apparently Buffy's doing really good in class now, and Walsh tells her she's gonna have to lead a discussion about something, but that's not in this episode, maybe a future episode.
I don't think we ever see it, but yeah, it makes Willow academically jealous. Buffy's sort of off to the side this whole episode. She's like doing schoolwork and shit.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I gotta go like visit a TA later, so I'll meet you at lunch. And she just like leaves for a little while. But
Yeah.
did she go visit Riley? Was that a scene with Riley we didn't see, or was that a different TA? Because she does say I have multiple TAs, right?
Yeah, she does say that. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
we'd see it if it was Riley.
Which makes me think like Walsh could have like I thought her and Riley would be like a team, like he'd be just like a sidekick, but maybe she has a cult of people that follow her. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But all right, so we go to lunch. Buffy or Willow's supposed to go meet Oz at lunch, but Oz sees Veruca and he's like, I'll sit with Veruca, which seems like a poor decision, but he does it. And Willow shows up and she's like, Hey, I'll sit with my boyfriend and this girl that he clearly likes. And but then they get up and leave, and then it's just Willow by herself, and then Buffy sits down and they start talking. And Willow says something interesting. Okay, she
I'd love to
says
hear it.
she says I understand like he thinks about other girls because I've thought about other guys, but she doesn't mention ever thinking about other girls.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Why does she mention that? Does she feel like she can't trust Buffy? Surely she's having those thoughts at this point.
Maybe she isn't.
She isn't? I mean, it has to happen soon. Is it going to happen like one night? She's going to be like, "Oh, wait, like what? Is that how it works?"
It can. I don't want to comment on that storyline. It hasn't even been introduced into the fabric of the show yet.
But there was that. I feel like we could talk about it because Angel said he was like, "Well,
Oh, right, the kind of gay thing, right?
yeah, I feel like that's okay to bring up. I'm not like
Yeah, that's true. No, no, no. You're not wrong. Like maybe she has, but I don't think so. I think she's sort of suppressing that side of herself at this point. She was so uncomfortable with the gay stuff in that episode,
yeah,
Doppelgangland.
that was a great episode.
It was.
That was a really funny episode. Remember she comes in and she's like, "All right, go check on that guy." They came
Yeah,
and she like sends him out to go get killed.
yeah.
It's so funny.
And then she waves at us.
Wasn't there a girl in that episode that you said Joss Whedon had sex with probably?
Oh well, I just guessed it.
She
I took
comes
a.
back, right? Or she had been
I
in one
don't
previously.
remember. Yeah, I think she had been in one previously, and then randomly shows back up there.
It's the one she kills, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um all right, but anyway, so we go to Oz. He goes and he locks himself in the cage, right? And he takes his shirt off. We get a sexy shot of Oz. And then he escapes the
It,
cage.
by the way, is pretty sexy. Like Seth Green is like a shrimpy dude, but we like see him without his shirt on a couple times this episode, and we see him get angry a couple of times in this episode. And it's like for the first time I was able to see Seth Green as a sexual being.
Yeah, you do want to see him when he's angry.
Yeah, yeah, I would like that.
So he escapes, right? And Walsh is packing up, leaving for the night. But she leaves really late. She's like she's like a workaholic, it seems like. She needs a break. She's probably working on the cult stuff, probably, actually. And so she's leaving class, and she gets chased by a werewolf. It's Oz. And then we see a crazy, to make us know who it is, I guess. She's a crazy blonde, long-haired werewolf, and we're like, oh, I guess this is Veruca, right? Um, then they start fighting each other, and they wake up in the woods naked, right?
Yes.
And they go to like the laundry, the student laundry place, put on
Yeah.
some clothes, and she sort of tells him something that really sticks with him. She says like, maybe the werewolf you is the real you and the human you is like the disguise. That's the mask. The wolf is what's true, Oz. And that seems to really stick with him because that seems to be why he leaves the
Yeah.
at the end of the episode.
That startles Oz because I think it's a thing that he has sort of like struggled with internally, but has never heard it expressed in that way before. And
And he's never, and by another werewolf also that seems to have a good understanding of this whole thing.
yeah, yeah, he's never really spent any time at all with another werewolf before.
Yeah, it was like a real reality check for him. It made sense to me. It was good. It was good. But then Walsh, she's like, "Hey guys, something crazy happened. I was attacked by a couple dogs," and Buffy's like, "Couple dogs? That seems weird." And so Buffy goes to, well, first of all, Willow goes to Oz and she tries to have sex with Oz, but Oz is like, "Oh, I didn't get any sleep last night, right? I'm
Yeah, I
all
guess.
tired." So then oh, here we go. So Buffy goes to Giles. Giles is watching a game show, and the people on the game show, they like get the answer wrong. He's like, "Oh, you fucking moron, you're so stupid." I
That
love
dinette
Giles.
set should be mine.
Giles is so funny.
I know.
Giles is one of my favorite characters ever on anything.
Wow, listen
Maybe
to this
that's too much
guy.
to say, but I just love Giles. He's so funny. Um, Buffy shows up and she's like, "Hey, Giles. Apparently Walsh was like chased by dogs," and she's like, "Hey, that sounds like Oz. Go check on Oz or whatever." And then, but Willow goes to Xander. Xander's in the basement, and apparently he wants a lock on the door.
Yeah, but his mom doesn't want to let him, so he's withholding rent.
But he says like she doesn't want him to because he's probably gonna start having sex down there. But isn't that probably why he wants the lock?
Yeah, yeah.
So
To
her worry is like true. She's like that. She's right to worry about that.
Yeah, but also he's fucking 18-year-old man. He's paying rent. Give him a fucking lock. Let him have sex if he wants. God damn it. He's got nothing else going on.
Yeah. I'm just saying he's like treating her like this goddamn woman, but like she's just like she understands exactly what's going on. So I
Yeah.
think that's funny. But yeah, she Willow basically asks Xander like, "Hey, isn't it bad that I want to have sex with Oz, but he doesn't want to have sex with me?" And he's like, "Yeah, probably. You should probably talk to him about that." And she's like, "All right, that's good advice." Or something. I don't know what happened. But so she leaves, and then what happened? Oh, Buffy goes to Oz, right? And Oz is like trying to fix the lock on the door, and she's like, "Oh, did you get out? That's not good." And she basically tells Oz that she's gonna go out hunting. I don't know why she says that. Why does she say she's gonna go try to capture the other werewolves? But
Well,
then Oz, but then
because Walsh had told her she saw two wild dogs. And so Buffy assumes one of them's Oz, but like is confused. Like, is there another werewolf we don't know about? And Oz says, like, well, I don't remember anything from when I'm a werewolf, which he's lying about because he's starting to remember little bits.
right, but it seems kind of like a mistake to tell him, like warn him she's gonna be out there trying to capture the other werewolf, because then he could tell the other werewolf, which he does, to not be out there.
I think she trusts Oz
I
that
guess you're
he's
right.
telling the truth.
I guess you're right. I'm thinking about it like Big Brother or something. Like you don't want to tell everybody everything. But you're right. You're right. They're friends. They're just friends. They're not trying to trick each other. And so yeah, but that happens. He goes and he tells Veruca like, hey, like you could get killed if you're out there, so maybe just come hang out with me in my cage. And Veruca shows up and she comes and hangs out in the cage. And then Willow shows up the next day and they're naked together in the cage. And Willow's all
Mm.
sad. And then Oz is like, hey, but what about that time when you cheated on me with Xander? And she's like, God damn it, you got me. So that was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
but I
But
didn't
also,
turn into a lycanthrope and fuck Xander. I merely had kisses with him in a life or death situation.
I think his is more excusable.
I kind of do too, just because he's a wolf. But you know what though? He kisses her before she turns. Like I
Uh,
understand that like he's
I loved how
starting.
they turned, by the way. The hands,
Yeah, the hands is cool.
really cool.
I understand that she's like starting like it's right before they turn. So the wolf could kind of be taking over him in his mind or whatever. But you see them kiss, like he grabs her by the head and kisses her while they're still humans.
Right. I hated, by the way, that effect where their faces are sort of turning into wolves. That looks really bad.
Um, I don't mind it, to be
No,
honest.
no, I
But
think it's one of
but
the
yeah,
worst things that's ever been in the show, honestly. Especially
Jesus
her.
Christ.
She
No, no,
looks
no.
really bad.
I agree that he looks way better than she does.
Yeah, they've like done it enough times with him. But
Yeah, they tested it out a couple episodes ago in Fear Itself when he was like turning into a wolf in the bathtub at that haunted house.
well, there's that one that's in the opening credits where I thought he was being a vampire. Is that one?
Yeah, I believe that's a shot from that episode.
Okay. Um, But yeah, so Willow, she's all bummed out, like, oh, Oz is with Veruca. And so she like runs into traffic, right? And Riley saves her life from being hit by a
Yeah,
car.
she's so distraught that Riley has to save her life.
Literally, she walks into traffic. It's crazy. But yeah, and then so Willow, something happens where she's like, all right, now I'm gonna do some crazy witchcraft and make it where they're both miserable forever. So that's what she does. She starts pulling out all of her Wiccan equipment and she goes to town on that. But then meanwhile, this is what I wanted whenever I brought up how I want Oz and Buffy to sort of be together. Like I thought this was way better than that other episode. How they're like here they're looking for Veruca together.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, yeah.
enjoyed this way more than
This
whatever
is
that was.
The Oz Buffy scene you were looking for. That
Not
was living
exactly, but way
conditions,
more.
dude. That was living conditions, and it was weird because she was like going insane. Like her soul was getting excised from her.
That yeah, that's fair. But I enjoyed this. They're off looking for Veruca, right? And then this is when they run into that military guy. Buffy fights off. It's sort of crazy. They like get into a big action scene. They fight each other. And by the way, how did Buffy get a gun? They
Buffy
like
takes the gun off of the military guy.
no, I think they both have guns.
Buffy might have like a tranquilizer gun or something, but she pulls one of these like tasey guns from
Oh,
the military guy. Yeah,
okay.
because that
But
comes back. That comes back. I think that she has like one of the guns.
like Faith's knife. It's like one like that.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
guess
hope she
so.
kills him with his gun like she did Faith. Not that Faith's dead. I hope not. That'd be crazy. What if they do? That'd be so sad if they're just like Faith died like between seasons, like she never made it out.
You know they. Can I tell you something?
No, don't spoil it. Don't spoil anything.
They never mention Faith again for the rest of the series.
Are you serious?
No, I'm not serious.
Okay. I was honestly about to be very
That would be horrible.
yeah. Honestly, that would have ruined my day if you just told me that, and then I had to like continue like
Yeah.
knowing that.
That said, like I'm not making fun of you because like I remember watching this season live and every week I was like, is Faith gonna be in this one? Lazadushu, where are you?
I didn't think they were never gonna mention her. I just like I am more like because they like she was just in a coma or whatever, like dying basically at the end of that last episode. They could say she's dead if she became like a big star or whatever. But anyway, so
You live in the world, right? You've noticed that Eliza Dushku isn't a big star.
I wasn't like I don't know what was going on in 1999.
Yeah, fair enough. She wasn't Bring It On.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. She's a movie. She's in Wrong Turn, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah, that
There you
was a
go.
big Eliza Dushku performance. That whole poster was just her being scared.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
That's
but
why I
then
saw it.
so Veruca shows up to Willow and she's like, "It's almost sundown. I'm gonna kill you." And so then, but then Oz shows up, right? And they get into a big fight, and Oz rips her throat out. Very gruesome. I loved it a lot. That was cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
that whole
sad though.
scene's wild. Like Willow turning to magic. This is like we've seen her do this a couple of times now. Like when shit's not going right in her life, she's like, "Fuck it, I'll magic this shit." And like that's fucking difficult to watch. She's so messed up. And then yeah, Oz flat out murders Veruca. Like you know, she probably should turn back into a human being after he kills her, but she doesn't. She's just a dead wolf in that room. And I honestly think it's just to make it less harsh. Like to like we don't want to think about Oz like murdering a person.
Well, I honestly didn't think about this until you just now brought it up. But I kind of like that she stays a wolf because that might show Oz that that is more her true self.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Maybe that like cements like his reason to leave is that
Yeah.
one moment.
Takes off right afterwards.
But yeah, I really like that, and I thought she'd be here for like when we first saw her. I was like, oh, she's gonna be here the whole season. No,
That was the intention, Logan.
6 episodes, she's dead.
Yeah, look, Joss Whedon knew that this was going to be Oz's last season as a regular. All right, that was always the plan. And but Seth Green had started getting popular and shit. So he asked if he can like push up his exit date to earlier in the season. So this was a storyline that was meant to arc out over the whole season, but Whedon condensed it into these couple episodes.
Okay, uh, that's huh because I don't feel like there was enough here to really stretch out throughout the entirety of the season. Honestly, like I don't
Well,
even
we
feel like I
don't.
got enough for the episodes we had. I didn't love this episode to be honest. I thought it was fine. I the like I but see my problem honestly is watching these old shows is like I can just like see what they're doing and I need to stop doing that. I really need to stop doing it. It's like a real problem that affects the way I enjoy things.
You think about the behind the scenes of it too much.
Yeah, no, honestly. Um, but I mean, this was a fine episode. But I was looking at like my ranking, and I was like, oh, this is probably below that, below that, below that, below that. And the end was like really dramatic, and a lot of the dramatic. I feel like I like the comedy of this show more than the drama that doesn't involve Buffy. I think.
I just think that Willow is such an empathetic character. So when anything bad is happening to Willow, I'm invested. I'm emotionally invested. And by the end of this episode, I'm very, very emotionally invested in both her and Oz's leaving. And yeah,
I
I
was too.
actually yeah, I love this episode. I didn't want to like get into it because you're not that into it, but I'm a big fan of this one.
Okay, I was thinking this might honestly be the first week where I like Angel more.
Interesting.
We
No,
thought
no,
that
no.
might be last week, but I think it's this
I
week.
felt that way last week. This week I like the Buffy episode more.
Okay, I think that they're very close. I think this might be the best Angel of the season, and I think it was not maybe not one of the weaker Buffys, but not I don't know. But are we even
I
at the
think
end
this is
yet?
the
We're not even at the end.
I think this is the best episode of Buffy to this point in season 4.
There's no way that's true.
Yeah.
Let me see what else there's been.
Well, you prefer living conditions. You said that earlier.
Yeah, I like the freshman more. I like harsh. I like them all more. I'm looking at my rankings. Fear itself. I like 'em all.
Beer bad? Come on, this is better than
No.
beer
Yeah,
bad.
better than beer bad. Better than beer bad. All right. Anyway, so but Buffy, she shoots Oz with the dart, and but I feel like Oz has got shot a lot of times, and I feel like it's always by somebody different. I feel like Willow did it the first time, then like somebody else did it, then Buffy
Yeah,
did it,
I think you're right.
or maybe Willow did it first two times. But I think she did it the first time, didn't? Because like she took Rain's thing, or did Rain do it?
Who did
Actually,
it in the Zeppo? Remember he like escaped in the Zeppo. I don't remember.
I don't either. Maybe I'm wrong. Ignore that, guys. But anyway, Buffy goes to Giles and she lets Giles know there was a weird guy wearing like. But I've been saying military this whole time, but I'm not saying these people are military. I just don't know what else they are, so I'm just
You
saying
can
that.
refer to them as commando guys. That's what we
Okay.
did. I remember what the discourse was when the episodes were airing,
Okay.
and
What does that mean?
that's
I
what
thought
fans were
commando meant
referring to
like
them
you
as.
don't wear underwear.
Well, that's another version of that. It's
Okay.
double meaning.
Okay.
I first learned that on Friends.
Ooh. But yeah, she tells Giles about it, and so hopefully that'll be a big part of the next episode. I'm excited for this. Now that Veruca's out, Veruca's not going to be a big thing coming up. Now this is going to be the main storyline probably. So that'll be exciting. And then Oz and Willow, they say their goodbyes, right? Willow shows up, and he didn't even tell her. He's just like packing. She's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm leaving." By the way, like this is why, like pretty poor communication.
I
Was he gonna
wonder if
leave if she never caught him?
you know what I always think about in that scene? Has he talked to Devin?
Can I when he left in the van? That's what was my thought. I was like, does he know he's taking his van and leaving? What's
Fucking
Devin gonna
Dingoes Ate
do?
My Baby is breaking up. They had studio time over the summer.
Well, you and Henry had studio time right before he left the show. I think that's like a thing that people do when they know that you're about to break up. Well, if I ever invite you over for studio time, you know it's a bad sign.
When did Henry and I have studio
It
time?
was just a joke.
Oh,
I was
oh,
just,
oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
jeez. All right, but yeah, so they say their goodbyes. Willow cries a whole bunch, and
My whole life, I've never loved anything else. He says that to her.
yeah, what did that mean? He's
Beautiful.
never loved a single thing in his life.
I mean, he's a pretty taciturn guy. He doesn't really give a shit about
I
much.
mean,
He
I
didn't
feel like
even graduate
me
high school.
too. Me too, though. I was just like, is that I was just trying to think about what he meant by that. I was like, does he mean he didn't love anything more or anything in general?
Anything in general.
I like that.
Willow was his first love.
I like that. And yeah, very sad. He leaves. There's a weird moment at the end where he like thinks about staying. He like turns the car off and cut back like a it's edited. You can see back to Willow crying. Then he starts the car again and he leaves. It's like, what? Who was that for?
I
Was
don't
that
think he
just
was
like
thinking about staying. It was just cross cutting between them. Like this is what they're up to.
he had the
I
car going, he turned it off and then starts it again?
oh really? Maybe you're right
100%.
then. Okay.
It's weird.
So what do you think about that, Logan? This is Oz's last episode of Buffy in the opening credits.
So you're saying it's not his last episode of Buffy. You
Yeah,
did
we're
say at one
not.
point he's not an angel again. That was a one and done thing on
Yes, that
Angel.
is true. That is true. But we'll see him pop up on Buffy again. But this is his last episode as part of the main cast.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was gonna come at some point, right? It had to happen, and I knew they were obviously setting up for that. Maybe I wouldn't have known that if I didn't know the future of Willow's character a little bit more. So
Goddamn New Mutants.
really, but yeah, I mean, I could see it coming. It happened sooner than I thought. Obviously, I did think it would happen later, but it's good. Should we get more into ranking so I can figure out more how I like it?
What do you give it out of 5?
I give it a 3.
I give it a
You give it a
4.
4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your MVP?
Oh, MVP. I'm gonna go. I wrote Giles and I wrote Veruca.
Veruca.
I thought she was really good this episode.
She's my LVP. I kind of think that girl can't
Oh,
really act very well.
I think she's good at being like a werewolf temptress. I feel like that's the
Yeah,
one
she
thing she
she
could
is
do.
good. I believe me. I remember when I was 13, and there's that scene where they're in like the laundry room, and she's like just strolling around in a bra. Believe me, that I loved her in that moment.
Yeah.
As a 13-year-old, but yeah, I just think she's like a weak link acting wise. So I was gonna make her my LVP. I was gonna give Allison Hannigan my MVP. I think she's great in this episode.
Mm. I honestly I don't know who to go LVP. I wrote I think I'll go MVP Giles. I really liked everything with Giles. I like the end. Buffy goes to him about the military thing, and I like the him watching the game show is very funny. And LV I might go Walsh. I don't know
That's
why.
fair.
Because
Well,
I don't
because
want to
she
go.
was
I don't want to go
so.
Riley
No, I
either.
could see giving it to Walsh because she's been so intriguing up to this point in this
Should have fought the
episode.
werewolves also.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been awesome. But she was scared. She threw a briefcase at one.
That's a good move too. But sorry, what's her first name?
Maggie.
Maggie. Really?
Yep.
They haven't said that, have they?
You might have been the freshman, but they certainly haven't harped on it.
All right. Probably Margaret, right?
Yes, Margaret Walsh.
All right. All right, so there we go. And I ranked it. By the way, I really have to redo this because sometimes I'll be like, this is worse than that episode, and then I'll go like down more, and I'm like, oh, this is like better than that episode. Or maybe I said that reverse what it should be. But where is this again? What episode is this?
6.
Oh,
You
oh
mean
my.
the title, Wild at Heart?
No, I found it. So there are 62 episodes, and I put this one 45th.
That's
So
crazy.
between I Only Have Eyes for You and Revelations, but it's under like What's My Line 1, which this is probably better than Bad Eggs, which this is probably
This is
better than
definitely better than fucking Bad Eggs. I got
Teacher's
news for you.
Pet from season 1.
Yeah, praying mantis lady.
Yeah, like I gotta redo this.
Yeah, what's going on with you? All right, what's my like number
What's My
12?
Line? Oh, okay. Uh the Prom.
All right, I like that more. So let's start there.
The Prom, Helpless, Lie to Me, The Zeppo, Angel, School Hard, Halloween, Doppelgangland, Bewitched, Bothered, Bewildered, Surprise, Ted, I Only Have Eyes for
You
You.
could pop this between Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, and Ted.
Surprise is between those two.
Yeah, ahead of Surprise. That's what I.
So
Yeah.
Bewitched, Bothered, Bewildered, and Surprise.
Yes, that's what I meant.
So you have it 21. I have it like 45. All right, I really got to redo this. Or maybe we just disagree, I guess.